The world is like a ride at an amusement park, and when you choose to go on it, you think it's real, because that's how powerful our minds are.
I can tell you from experience, the effect you have on others is the most valuable currency there is.
Don't think, feel. It is like a finger pointing away to the moon. Don't concentrate on the finger or you will miss all that heavenly glory.
You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Thomas, you incredibly handsome devil. It's good to see you again.
It's good to see you, buddy.
I have a question for you.
All right, shoot. What do you got?
I want the most honest answer, as you always give me an honest answer, but make this one as raw and honest as possible. And that is, do you want to have children?
Wow, great question. I didn't see that coming at all. Man. Okay, so this want to have kids, this progeny, it's liquid, right? Because I think if you had asked me that about 2 or 3 years ago, I would have said, yeah, I'm getting a lot closer to that. Definitely. I'm feeling like I'm reaching a place where that could be a reality for me. Mm-hmm. And it's something that to nourish and teach and kind of pass on the things that I think are really important in the human experience. That could be very, obviously it's one of the things, there's an old Italian proverb, right? It's like a man hasn't lived a life until he's written a book, built a house, and fathered a son. A little bit sexist, but I think those are powerful things. Let's just say fathered a child. Now, however, my sister has 2 twin boys, my nephews. They're almost 3. And I'm not going to say anything that she doesn't know, but I'm still like choosing my words. When I hang out with them, it's an exceptional bond, right? And to just see these young little lives that are so impressionable, yada yada, everyone's heard that. When they're great, they're phenomenal. And when they become screaming children, I am so glad that she gets to take them home. You know what I mean? And I'm like, wow, I don't know if I have the patience for that. My own life is difficult enough. Yeah. Like making the things that I want to do work is really hard. And I'm like, wow, just why don't we throw a child in the mix too and put that much more stress on it? And I know that anybody listening who has children is like, it's because you're a selfish bastard and you just don't understand how much more joyful your life could be with the introduction of a child. Here's the other thing, and there's lots of things. I'm glad you asked me this. I've seen this with every single person who's had a child. The couple hates each other. And having that child, eventually I think most couples get through it. But, the thing you hear over and over again is just life changes. And that's okay, but it's a different kind of change. There's no more just on a whim going to check out a show, late at night, or just leaving to go to India. I mean, I can't wait to turn this around on you, the guy, like the fucking rambling man.
The very first statement you said, it's a liquid thing. I know I was one of the people who were educated to believe that that's just one of the things you do. You grow up, you find a partner, you get married, you have children, and you start a family. And man, I don't know, dude. People would say I'm selfish, and I've been thinking lately that I'm quite selfish. But I also temper that thought with the fact that one definition of selfish is it's a word used when you don't want to do what other people want you to do. And man, there's enough kids on this planet, bro. There's enough
right.
Children on this planet. We have reached carrying capacity or exceeded carrying capacity. And I just look at my own life and see the amount of waste and resources that I consume. Literally, like when I the way I can see it very clearly is because I travel a lot, And every time I leave a place that I've been staying in for a week, like I'll usually just clean out the room or like pack my stuff up and put the garbage off to one side, like whatever it might be, the water bottles that I've been using, or I might have bought myself a new t-shirt or whatever it is. And the amount of waste, bro, that's generated is catastrophic. It blows my mind. And then I just think, like, does the planet need another one of me running around consuming factory farm meat and driving a car that pollutes and consuming energy? And I keep thinking to myself, like, the only reason I would want to have a kid is my ego. It's because I'd want to clone myself. I think I've mentioned this to you before. It's like a smart guy once said, all that having a kid is cloning yourself. And part of me thinks, like, that's true. And I need to get over that and realize that I could help be a father to a bunch of kids out there that don't have dads already. Like, it's not just because I want my DNA to run around that I want some guy to have blonde hair and blue eyes and vaguely look like me and be able to, like, leave his mark on the world. I want to be able to say that there's something enduring of me after I leave. I don't think that's a good enough reason, dude. And that ties into a whole bunch of the other things that you mentioned, like that catastrophic loss of personal freedom. And for me, freedom is one of the things I value the most. And I don't know, dude, it just doesn't look like having kids aligns with that too much. And is that me being selfish? Maybe. But then so be it. I'm a selfish guy.
It just looks hard.
It's hard.
It looks super hard, and they're frustrated a lot and sighing a lot, like like doing that a lot, and also just it's like corralling. I guess if you just have one child, it's maybe different. She has twins, my sister, so it's one of my sisters. So it's really difficult, and they're twin boys, and they're awesome. I can't say that enough, but I don't. For me,
my little goddaughter, she is, honestly, dude, she is one of the biggest joys in my life. I love that little girl so much. She puts a huge smile on my face every single time I see her. But would I want to have her with me, like, 24/7, like, like puking and crying and, like, I don't know, dude. I don't think so. And it's not because I don't love her or anything. It's just because I don't process that kind of stuff well. I really enjoy my solitude and my time to reflect. And noise is becoming a thing I'm becoming increasingly less tolerant of. I know it's obviously, like, that's a natural progression as you get older, but, like, everything becomes too loud. But, like, really, dude, I love being in a silent room, just doing yoga or just reflecting or writing or whatever. And it seems to me like the childbearing process is the antithesis of that. And
you're absolutely right.
Yeah, and that's okay. That's cool. Like, some guys, I mean, sometimes I'll be at jiu-jitsu and I'll see a guy will have his little kid and his kid will be climbing over and they'll be doing jiu-jitsu together, and I'll think, that's awesome, bro. That's really cool. I'd like to have that one day. And then I just do this little mini cost-benefit analysis in my head and think, like, that's really cool. But you also love being able to just get on a plane and go wherever, or wake up at 8 o'clock if you want, or spend most of your money on yourself. Or, do you know what I mean? It's all these other...
I think there's a lot of planning that goes into the modern having a child if you're a responsible person these days. So it's like, well, we have to have I was talking with a buddy of mine who's just considering having a third child, or maybe is it third or fourth? No, a third. And he's like, dude, I need like an extra 40 grand a year just to make this work. So I'm gonna have to get a promotion at work in order. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ. I mean, I'm glad that those aren't my problems.
There's a skit in one of Monty Python's one of the Monty Python films. I can't remember which one it was. It's about something called the Self-Preservation Society, and I think you and I would probably be founding members of the Self-Preservation Society. And when when we draw up the charter, we'd probably have to have something about no children in it. So yeah, no, I understand, dude. Completely understand.
Have you ever been with a woman who had a child?
As in like dated a woman that had a child?
Yes, it's a woman who had a child, like you were her boyfriend. You saw her regularly.
Okay. Funny story. I went on a couple of dates with this chick. This was years and years ago, and I knew she had a kid. And one night I was at her place, and I'd never met this kid. And by the time I arrived at her place, the kid was sleeping in his room. And we went outside just to like lie down and look at the stars. And we had like a blanket and we were chilling out there. And it was nothing too intense. We were just like cuddling a little bit. And I just hear this, "Mommy, mommy, I'm scared." I look up, it's this kid. And then he jumps in under the blankets with us, between us.
Oh,
I mean, thank Christ we were fully clothed. But I literally lost my mind. I was like, I'm not down with this. Like, I didn't say that, but I was just thinking, okay, that's my cue. And basically, like, I don't think I ever saw the chick again. So it's
really? You just bolted?
No, I mean, I didn't just get up and run.
Wow.
I just kind of like, I made a very seamless transition and said, it's getting late now. And
Oh, I'm sure.
But dude, yeah, I don't know, dude. Like, I respect anyone who can handle that, because it's a tough gig. It's a real tough gig. Have you? Is maybe a better question.
Sure. Yeah. And it's certainly a little bit strange, because I mean, gosh, that just relationship with, in the back of your mind, you're thinking, oh, well, that's somebody else's child. How friendly am I supposed to be if this relationship is just one way, and or a particular way? I don't mean one way, but like if my understanding of the relationship is X, what does the child think? And I don't want the child to think that it's maybe Y when it's just X. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it certainly makes for some peculiar moments. But I mean, I have an old friend who married a gal with like an 11-year-old son, and he made it work great. And
Yeah.
I have another buddy who just married a gal with like 3 sons, and it's an interesting thing about dating when you come across people that have an invoice of a certain choice with the past partner that walks around with them all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's a terrible. I don't mean an invoice. That sounds so terrible. A living, a living proof of an entirely different life.
You gotta stop these voices in your head, bro.
And we're getting the most hate mail for this particular episode.
I know. Another thing that's got me thinking about this, in fact, the reason I asked you that question is just watching Doug Stanhope. I've been on a Doug Stanhope kick, the stand-up comedian, watching his shows on YouTube. And man, he makes some pretty vitriolic, bile-filled monologues against children, which I think have probably tainted my thoughts about it over the past week or so. I'll just relate to you one other little story. So a week ago, I was in the Philippines, and I was in a restaurant or a cafe having breakfast, and this woman or family was having breakfast next to me. They had a young child, and for some reason, the mother had to take this. It was a little girl. She had to take the little girl outside to go and get, I don't know, to get some fresh air or just walk her because she was being rambunctious. And then when she came back in, the child was walking. You know how they hold the child's hand to let them walk and gain confidence. And this little girl came in and she looked at me, and I just gave her a little smile. and she gave me the biggest, widest, most beautiful, innocent, and pure smile I have ever seen. Literally, like,
wow.
It could not be tainted by, I knew that child didn't want anything from me. I knew it wasn't putting anything on. And man, it was that weird, like, little glimpse. I was like, okay, that's why people go through this. That's why people lose their sleep and their money and their peace of mind and their freedom and all those things. It's because that is so powerful. And but again, I had that moment, and I have similar moments with my godchild and my godson, and I still get the freedom and the money and the sleep and all those things. And do you know what I mean? It's like, is it maybe like, there's like, I always use this saying. It's like, if you like chocolate cake, the quickest thing you can do to cure yourself of that is to just eat a lot of chocolate cake. So maybe like that desire to say, okay, I want my own little kid that gives me that big smile every day. Maybe that's the quickest way to cure me of that when I see the kids just crap its pants or vomit on the floor or whatever. And I'm like, oh God, like there's no amount of smiles that would make this okay.
Yeah, dude, spend an afternoon or an evening where you're the only one taking care of them, and I promise you, at the end of that, you'll be so ready to hand that child over to anyone who will take them.
You know what? I'm going to take your advice on that.
At least for now.
Yeah, I'm going to go do an intensive with my business partner and who's the father of my goddaughter, and he's got 2 other kids. Whenever I stay at their house, when I say, I can say this without hesitation, he has some of the best kids. They're well behaved and they're socialized and they're reasonably clean and they are good kids. And after a week staying in his house, dude, I need therapy. I need to go and like sit in a quiet room by myself for a couple of days just to decompress from all the like intensity. Anyway, I should go and do some pricing on vasectomies here in Bangkok.
I know, dude. I'm like exhausted at just talking about kids.
Dude, it's that time again when we say goodbye and we ruthlessly request some iTunes reviews and comments on.
Oh, can I try it this time?
Sure.
Hey guys, Thomas here. It would really help us out if you would leave a comment or two and tell your friends on iTunes, on YouTube. We love to interact with our fans and with just the not even casual listeners. Anyone who writes anything, it will get a response. Nick assures you of that, and it would make us super happy to see more people get some benefit out of this. So please share and share alike. And if you have something that you want us to talk about or something that we can do to improve the show, let us know. Until next time.
Jesus, dude, that was pretty convincing. I'm gonna go write us a comment and leave a review. That's amazing.